Hi, Friday, the 11th of November. Unusually, I will make a video of one morning of trading because I think it's important to show all aspects of trading and especially the bad ones. Quite often, after a great day like we had yesterday, the next day is tricky. This is due partly because the markets need to digest big events and they're still in turmoil, but with less direction. Partly because in these situations of higher than average volatility, the system parameters may be a little bit out of sync, and especially our usual buffers may be a little bit too tight for this kind of volatility. These market conditions are, on top of that, full of false breakouts. So false breakouts, too tight buffers are a very bad combination for this kind of system. This morning was a case in point, and I wanted to show it. Let's start with oil. We had three signals on oil. The first one was here. That wasn't to be taken because oil in the morning is not extremely volatile and not extremely liquid. But this entry here would have been very close to this red line. I don't want to talk about red lines here, but you know that there are levels that go through days. So that was an important point for us. The market, in fact, retraced a bit and then went down again. And, once it thought a bit about what to do here and you had the spike down, well, we didn't know it was a spike, that was a false breakout. It broke, it tested again and broke this low here for a few ticks, and then it went up again. So that was the first loss. Here, what we may think in terms of price action is, well, the market tried to go down twice. It was repelled here, and the bulls are now in control. And look what happens. They actually move the price up. They pass the 2 moving average. They break this previous high here, and there is a long signal. So it's a perfectly good example of a long. You go long here, and the market punishes you again. That's another loss. And to add insults to injury, and this happens quite a lot today, by the time the market does make a move, it's already too late. It's 10:25 here. Let's now look at equities, and I will start with the Dow Jones. It was a very strange opening, and we will see it better on DAX actually. The market really had no direction whatsoever. Apparently it was a very strong opening and then it was completely undone and the market went down, and you had the first sell signal here. You could have got in here. I actually filtered this because in the morning I want to see what happens on the DAX. So that was a filtered trade. It would have been a break-even probably, or even a good trade, but I was just waiting for the DAX, and the DAX didn't move down that much. So that was one. The second one was this one. Notice that actually this would have been a pretty good bar, rejection of moving average going with the trend, to enter on an advanced trade, an advanced re-entry. But there was not enough space here, so I needed to wait for this breakout. And why did I take this breakout rather than on the DAX? Because the DAX wasn't moving, and Standard & Poor and Dow Jones were moving a little bit more. So I decided to take this trade here. Was a little bit hairy. It went actually to 10 points, but I couldn't even get my 10 points, and I closed down at break even because the order wasn't triggered. This was, however, much better, and it was an advanced trade, and I thought, well, if the market doesn't really go up here, there is a selling pressure here, and I'm quite happy to give it a try, in spite of the fact that I was already down for with the DAX and especially and oil. It turned out to be quite good. And then again, I should have stayed in, but I did went out with some profits because, as you can see, the market moved, but after the 10 o'clock. Big frustration here on DAX. DAX started quite well, on open with a big rally up, testing the high of yesterday. So that was a good sign, and I was quite surprised to see that it actually undid the whole thing. And this was an interesting bar because it tried again, but it ended up with really nothing. And this was a pretty strong sell sign, but it wasn't a signal yet. So as you can imagine, I was quite keen to be short here. And I was quite sure that the DAX would have gone down, so that's why I didn't take the first trade on YM. As it happens, we didn't have a signal here, so we had to wait for quite a long time for this support to be broken. And then we have a signal here, but we couldn't get in, and this would have told me that it wasn't a very good day to try to second guess the markets. Again, pretty good signs. The markets couldn't make it here, but it couldn't make it here either, and it was a double top on pivots, which was again a pretty good PA sign for the market to go down. So when I actually managed to find the breakouts, I was hit here to the tick, and then the market immediately went the other way. And it gave me immediately a buy signal, so I knew I was late. Keep in mind that this would not necessarily have been a proper trade. First of all, because we were in YM already. We entered YM 10 minutes before. So this would have been a correlation filter. And also, it's very difficult to see where you can put a stop here apart from here. But if you put a stop here, the risk would have been too high. So I'm not sure that this is actually a loss according to the rules, but let's play with it. The market then went up, and again, after this rejection and this fishing expedition, I was thinking that the market now was really looking into retesting this. Past this double top, past the pivot point, you have to leave a pretty big buffer above the pivot point, which I did, and then the market collapsed again. So again, one, possibly two losses. The real movement, as usual, to add insult to injury, arrived after 10 o'clock. Now, if you think that that was bad in terms of frustration, well, have a look at Cable. Cable had a fishing expedition. We were taken out here. It broke this support here. I could have waited for this support here, but I thought that after this double bottom here, it could have been a good idea to get in. We had the sell signal, everything was okay, and we were fished out. Now, this is very interesting because Cable was completely uncorrelated with the euro today. Euro against the dollar and pound against the dollar were really at different levels. Now, there's a number of things we could have done. One is, well, an advanced entry here because it does break this line here, this resistance here. I could have got in here, but we didn't have a signal. We had to, remember, you have to wait for the bar to close. So for the non-advanced, we had to wait for the signal. By the time we had the signal, we couldn't do anything because we would have entered just below a big round number, 125, 126. So that was to be filtered. The market went through 126. So you then had two opportunities to re-enter here. One is this one, on the break of this, with a wide buffer out of 126 or 126, 7 or 8. And that went to R1. And you had another one here, a little bit sweaty, but then the market went up. But you really needed to have some faith in this rally of the pound, because here you would have entered after a pretty sizable rally, actually. But eventually, if you used advanced trading techniques, this was pretty good, and actually it would have helped taking back quite a lot of the losses in the morning. And I'd like to finish with the euro against the dollar. Now, which markets of the 5 we're following is the worst performer right now? Is the euro against the dollar. So maybe in normal circumstances the parameters are not ideal for this market. But in different circumstances, like today, well, that was the only market where we didn't have any loss. Actually, we had 2 pretty good trades. So you see, that's also a matter of diversification of parameters. That it might be frustrating on many days, but then it may save you the day some other time. Anyway, first signal here, too close to pivots. I just wanted to see a breakout of this little range. We had the breakout of this little range. Market went down, so we had our first 10 points. There was this retracement. The market then had this bar here, the rejection, basically of the pivot, but also of the moving average. So there was an advanced re-entry here with a test, with a target retesting this low here, and the other one was going down here. So these were 2 very good trades. And so at the end of the day, yes, we're probably down, but not as much as we would have thought, considering how we started in the beginning, actually. I just wanted to show you this because days like this will happen, and they're part of the trade. Thank you very much.